Hey Matthew, what's going on?
Not much. Hanging out.
The Friday expiration, I have an idea I wanted to run by you. Energy idea, power, specifically power, and it's a compelling story. I've been on this for the last week and have some calls, but this is probably an 18-month story that can take the stock up a lot. Okay, so the stock is Bloom Energy. And Bloom Energy provides power. But let's talk about the power industry first. So the power, we all know demand, supply, demand. Demand is going through the roof. You have McKinsey and everyone talking about the number of gigawatts that'll be needed to supply the AI demand. That's in the order of almost 100 gigawatts. To put that in some sort of context, you know, the amount that one nuclear reactor produces is 1 gigawatt. And so you can imagine that there's a lot of power that's needed. You know, some of these estimates have been in the last year, right? And the amount of money that has been pouring in by the hyperscalers has far exceeded the estimates from 3 years ago. So if you thought when they first started next year we're going to do 25 billion to spend, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, it's really 150 billion, and then the next year it's really 500 billion, and you know it has been going up. The estimates have been going up, so the amount of power is also going up. Now, what are we seeing out there? We're seeing the supply and demand off a little bit because people are complaining about their power bills, right? Two, three
Yep.
X their power bills. In the industry, you have the hyperscalers talking about clean power, right? Because they're walking in and they're walking to New Jersey and they're saying, okay, well,
Yeah.
you have capacity, we're going to take all of it, right? Now the prices all go up. And if you don't have clean power, these machines are noisy, right? They're not clean, they use water. They're using up the electricity, obviously, and your bills are going up. So people are frustrated. And I suspect the government's going to have to step in at some point and have a two-tier system where they're going to keep the power, the dollar amount for power somewhere near inflation and increase with
Yeah.
inflation, and then let the hyperscalers fight for the industrial power besides that. Because otherwise these guys are taking up all the power in the United States and things are going through the roof. So there's right now it's important to understand there's really only two ways to get power, right? You get power through the grid,
Mhm.
or you get powered. GE is doing like gas turbines, okay, clunky, big, and also not clean. In case of emergencies, you got diesel generators, and I'm looking at battery storage, but you're not running data centers with this type of machinery. The interesting part is nuclear. So nuclear's on the map now, and all the stocks, CCJ, quadruple U, SMR, Oklo, all of these are through the roof, right? You've
Yep.
seen all those stocks through the roof. Nuclear is the SMR, which are small modular reactors, basically small nuclear reactors.
Yep.
They're gonna take 5 to 7 years to just get started.
I was gonna say, don't aren't they just licensed basically right now? They haven't even
Yeah,
built anything yet.
exactly. Exactly. The government's given a few of them some money, build it. It's 2029. GE says 2029 they'll have something, but it's going to be very small test, not until the 30s. Nuclear reactors take 10 years to build. Building out the grid, there's 2,900 gigawatts of transmission that's out there trying to be built, but that takes 5 to 10 years as well. So what we're looking at is this time gap, which is the need for power right now and the supply that's going to come in 5 to 10 years. By that time, the Bloom Energy CEO KR, he basically said that this is just the start. The data center build out is just the start. And he says you don't think they're spending $1 trillion and then just going to stop. The
Yeah.
next step is the inference, and inference is
Mhm.
multiple times what they're spending on the data center. And so you have this time gap, and this time gap needs power. Where do you get it from? Almost at capacity at the grid. The grid's it's at its seams. Bloom Energy fits perfectly into the next 5 to 10 years. It's perfect. So Bloom Energy, to go back a second, in 2021, you can look at the chart. The chart just took off. And the story with Bloom Energy has always been hydrogen, right? These fuel cells, they'll build these
Yeah.
block fuel cells, and they'll take hydrogen and turn it into electricity. So that was the fantasy, I call it. Fantasy because it's going to take 15, 20 years or whatever it is to get the price of that. They could do it, but to get the price down at scale, it's going to take too long. And so the stock took off, has come straight back down. That's a big part of the story because
Yeah.
what's happened now is that they have taken natural gas and they could take natural gas and turn it into electricity in these fuel cells, and they can do it at a cost that is close to the average of what the grid is producing. In California, it actually beats the pricing beats the grid. So the cost for Bloom Energy is 12 to 15 cents per kilowatt. The normal grid, our standard grid, is 8 to 12 cents. But in California, it's 20 to 30. So they're already
Oof.
below that. Okay.
Yeah.
Texas is well below. It's like 6 to 7. However, you run the risk of, do you remember the winter storm a few years
Yep.
back, Uri? That blew out prices from 7 cents to like $9. It was
Well, I mean,
insane.
southern states just are not,
They're not
capable of
ready, right?
handling it, right?
Exactly. They're not ready for those events. So the hyperscalers are looking for clean energy,
Yep.
right? All their statements say that clean energy, and they're looking for reliability. They don't want things to go down. And
Mhm.
essentially, if you actually did this two-tier system that I alluded to, which the government is probably going to need to do, otherwise everyone's power bill is going to go straight up, and it's going to be gobbled up. The electricity is going to be gobbled up by the hyperscalers, which is going to cause mayhem. And so they're probably going to do something there on regulation, which would make the cost of the grid equal or be greater than what Bloom Energy can supply.
Okay.
Bloom Energy is now supplying half a gigawatt this year right now. They alluded to 1 gigawatt next year, and they said at the end of this year, sorry, and 2 gigawatts next year. So that's 4 times what they're doing right now. What changed the game was the Oracle deal on July 24th. So Oracle, one of the hyperscalers, okay, they come in, do this deal with Bloom Energy, and Bloom Energy had done something with AEP a year ago, and AEP is partnered with Amazon. So essentially, Amazon was the first, Oracle is now the second, and this is an arms race for power.
Yeah.
And you can imagine that if it seems like to me that this is one of the only solutions that is clean. GE right now, their gas turbines are just not clean. They're loud, not clean, and not good for, if you're sitting in the suburbs of some town and all of a sudden some gas turbines pop up next door, not going to be happy. So
No.
this is so Bloom Energy is actually right in the center of this big movement. It's almost like the AI power
Yeah.
story has just shifted right into Bloom Energy's backyard. And so that's why you see the stock rising from 24, low 20s, then the Oracle deal, and now it's basically pushing 57. There's an event next week called the Yada Data Center Conference, and OpenAI will be there, NVIDIA will be there, and I'm sure all the hyperscaler buyers, the guys who are looking for power, will be there as well. And so Bloom Energy is speaking next Wednesday. I think that's part of the reason this stock is still hitting the highs right here. They are expecting, or the Wall Street is starting to expect more deals, right? Oracle's not going to be the last, right? Amazon, Oracle, and now you should start seeing a bunch. And that's sort of the story right now. It's, where can this go? How do you value something that's grown at, 4x where in a year and a half, and then they're gonna and imagine 18 months from now what the next year and the year after that's going to be. I'm long. I'd like to be long in a smart way, and I think people can get long. One, getting into the stock is obviously good, in my opinion. Two, is there a way to get long calls so people aren't spending too much money, but they're just playing the game and trying to be smart about it?
Yeah, I mean, 100% there is. I love the story, first off, Felix. It's been names like, BE, I mean, IREN, another ticker out there.
Right.
Hut, which just spun off its Bitcoin and is now like a pure energy play for data. GEV, like you said, GE. These have all been huge winners. Oklo, SMR. I mean, these are names that we've been trading all year long as discretionary traders, and as even into the AI technology and things like that we do. So there is a way that we could do this, obviously, to automate it and to be able to capture momentum. Especially with a name like this, right? You're going to try to capture that momentum.
It could pull back
Yeah,
quickly. It's a 90
exactly.
volatility name, so it
Yes.
could pull back for sure.
So there's nothing wrong with going with the defined risk way, like, hey, let's set up a defined risk
Exactly.
system. We get out at a certain stop loss, or we can just ride that wave as long as we can ride it.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm
So
trying to get people to take a look at.
Yeah, so I mean, we can easily do that with one of the simple models that we've been doing, in some other, high beta name trades, right? Like, we've had those AI names, those crypto names, and we've been using those for like high beta trades. So we do have like the MACD system that we can use, which is simple. Everybody understands it. It's very easy to know. You can do some type of other type of trend following strategy, but I mean, I think for the momentum, that might work just fine,
Sure.
especially over the next, 2 years, 3 years here, maybe 5 years, right? So
Yeah.
let's just see how long the story goes, and let's just pull this model up. We can do that. We have a chart as well. So, all right. So first, you can just see the chart here. I mean, this is just the daily chart. I mean, beautiful looking chart,
Right.
right? Momentum. That's that gap you're talking about on the Oracle deal
Yeah.
on July 24th, gapped
Yes.
up, never pulled back. That's huge sign of strength. You had this other level here, and this is back out from the weekly.
Yeah, see that changed the story right there. That
Yep.
changed the story, and the reality is that many, Wall Street has all these analysts on the stock, but many of them are still remembering Bloom Energy as hydrogen, and
Yep.
none of them have gotten their numbers quick enough, have increased their numbers quick enough to match the new story, which is kind of what's happening here. You're starting to, there was an upgrade today with someone just raising their target stock price to 61. So there's a lot of Wall Street analysts that are
Yeah.
behind the eight ball here.
Well, and that's great. That's really, it shows the change in character, right? Because it did not even really hesitate at any of the levels, right? It didn't
Right,
hesitate back up
exactly.
that old 2018 high area. It didn't hesitate at the 2021 high area.
Exactly.
It kind of just blew right through it when you pull it back. Look on the weekly level. So this is something obviously I've followed for years here, and yeah, we can definitely build something for this. It's stretched right now, right? Like maybe somebody doesn't want, maybe you could start getting in the shares if you're looking at like, hey, let's just get action of this, start dollar
Yes.
cost averaging into it a little bit because you're probably going to expect to get pullbacks. But maybe let's take a look at like a model that we could run quickly on this.
Yeah, as you get that up, there's also been um, big call buying in the name
Yeah.
over the last month. Huge. So the hedge funds are here. Probably a large investors pushing the stock. Someone like
I,
BlackRock wants in. They're pushing the stock. If that's them, they're pushing the stock up. Because they
I'm
need in.
I'm seeing it actually anywhere from the 45s to the 60 calls. A lot of them right now. I mean, they're really targeting that November expiration I'm seeing, and
Yes.
and I'm seeing big sweeps, like 200 to 400K sweeps.
Yes.
There's even some $1 million sweeps out here.
There's some big. There's big flow. There's
Yeah,
big flow
so
across
so
the
you
board.
even if some of these are like, hey, maybe it's like they're selling maybe, upside call exposure because they're long stock or something, but the people, their institutions are getting into this, and you can just see it through the flow. All right. So what we can do is, I got a new one up here, but you know what? Let's just actually just copy a strategy that we already have an agent, right? Like because we already use this
Sure.
on a regular basis with some other names. Let's just pull down here and find one of them.
Oh, I see. So you're going to take one of the strategies, copy it,
Exactly.
or duplicate it, and then you're just going to change. You could just change the symbol.
Yeah, change is just simple. You just
That's
simply
easy. That's
copy
good.
it over. So we can even take one of these old macro ones, MACD, and just simply copy this because basically everything is there for us, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, even though this is just like some kind of macro model that we built, we can change this all out to be very specific to BE. So
Okay.
you can see it pulled your tree up right up from the start. Anybody can go in as long as it's a public agent or a public strategy, they can go in and they can copy these. So
Okay.
you can see here, all you now need to do is make changes. So, okay, so start time. Do you have a preferred time, or do you care if it catches it right on the open, or do you want to leave it, for
I
five
don't.
minutes?
Yeah. I don't know. You tell me. What do you
I
think?
mean, I think a name with like BE, you're just gonna want to try to catch it, right?
If it's
Um,
good, yeah. This is fast.
there's always those days where the fact is it could just run, right? And it could run 10%. I mean, the name is very volatile. It could run
Yes.
20%, and that's the stock. That's not the option.
Right.
So, if we want to just be able to catch it right off the open, don't play around. All right, so you can see here all the trend indicators are MACD here, just a cross signal above one. This is on the daily. So we can do that so that we can capture the last daily signal wasn't, I mean, it was like July, right? So
Okay.
this thing has a tendency to kind of trend a little bit. when it does get going. And even if it doesn't trend that long, it's extremely volatile. A lot of the times you're still going to get nice wins out. So adding this leverage exposure, I don't think is a bad idea, even on the 1 day here. We can always do it on the weekly if you're trying to catch
Hmm.
longer trends, but you're going to be waiting a lot longer for that signal on this one. All right. So you said you're looking at something like, you want to be able to capture this, a year out or,
I like, yeah, I don't want long-term options.
okay.
I want to capture the sort of momentum as it's coming, and then
Okay.
and hopefully get out when it starts turning.
So how do you, I mean, to me, when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about anywhere from 1 month to 3 months,
Yeah, 1 month.
on
I
like
don't
a
want to pay
swing.
exactly. I don't want
Yep.
to pay too much for the time value.
Okay.
So it's like I want to hit. Like I want this thing. This thing has a chance to really explode, and I just want to be there as it's moving.
Okay. Capture that. So let's do the 30-day, right? Let's do the
Sure,
1 month, if
that's
others
about
out
right.
there,
That sounds right. Yeah,
yep.
that's fine.
And if others out there want to go to 90 days, they can do that as well. They can see what we're doing here and literally put this on. I mean, something you can always do is change your sizing here, everybody. So, I mean, something like BE is not all that expensive. So maybe you want to throw on like 4 contracts or five
Okay.
contracts. So we'll just do four. And you want to be kind of aggressive with this, I'm assuming, right? That you want to
Right.
capture that momentum. I mean, from my perspective, you can go really, I mean, I guess anywhere from like the 25 delta to like the 50 delta to be aggressive, just kind of depending on, how aggressive you really want to be in that. Um,
Yeah. And how long? Let me ask you a question on
yeah.
something like this, like the MACD. Once it crosses on a momentum name, does it
Mhm.
stay? Do they tend to stay longer above the crossover, or is it when it turns, or is it doesn't matter, or it's all contingent
Yeah,
on?
so I mean, momentum names have a tendency to kind of see that out a little bit further than like say something like you're playing. Like I know it's in a weird way, this is like a utility name, but it's not your like
Right. Yeah, it's not your
standard
grandfather's.
utility company, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's not your Excel Energy company here, right? Your
Yeah.
elites, your
No,
names that
let's
are
all right. So let's do 35 delta. 35
all right.
delta.
35 delta. Yeah. So I mean that's definitely aggressive. It should be able to capture that momentum. And you should at least be, on an exit, hopefully at, a 60 delta or 70 delta at the minimum, if not, all the
That
way. I
sounds
mean,
good. Yeah, that sounds good.
so all right, so we'll do
That'll be
that.
part of the risk management.
Yep. So we're
Okay.
going to get that in there too. And you can see we
Okay.
already have it built in down below, but we're going to adjust all that.
All
Right.
right.
All right. So let's do, we definitely want mid ask at least, or do you
Yeah,
use,
mid ask.
I
It
mean,
is the spreads are pretty wide, so mid
yeah,
ask is probably okay
that's what I was thinking. And do you even want to
until it
have
runs
open?
against me,
Yeah.
and then I want to take the offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Just take the offer quick. But all right. And since, we don't necessarily know what strike we're going to get, they could open up weekly contracts. Do they have weeklies right now, or do they just have standard
They
expirations?
have weeklies. Yes, they do.
Okay. So since they have weeklies, I think we just got to make sure we have kind of because this looks on a strike by strike basis.
Okay.
We're probably going to want to make sure that we get into this. Just set it to zero if you want to be aggressive on this.
As far as
Yeah,
open interest, yeah, I don't need
yeah,
that to be anything. That's fine.
yep. And then day and force. I mean, we'll give it 2 days for the cross. It should just get in, right? But
Okay.
day and force, we'll give it 2 days just to have some leeway there, right? Oh, and then we're going to want to change the name, right?
So what
Since
does that mean? The 2 days, just in case it misses and it comes back. What does that mean at the bottom,
Y-
actually?
That's that's exactly it. It'll try to take the signal for up to 2 days. It
Okay.
shouldn't take that long. It should literally take seconds, and it'll
Okay.
continuously send orders. So if it can't get in at that mid and ask, it's gonna cancel out within a minute and then resend
Okay.
that order anyways. But as a precautionary, that if something ran so hard that you never got in,
Yeah.
I doubt that would happen.
And let me
It's
ask you a
just
question. How do I prevent it from? I only want to do those four. Is it going to repeat like all the time? Like how does that work? Will I once I'm executed the four, it knows to stop executing anymore or buy anymore?
yeah, it just knows
Okay,
to stop. So it counts that I got four. You're gonna have four in your account, and then it
that's my
won't.
position limit. Okay,
Exactly.
fine,
That's your position limit.
perfect.
All right. So trend indicator, again, this will adjust this just so you know what it is, right? It's the MACD
Yep, yep.
crossover bearish. So we'll use that as an exit signal, as one of the parameters for an exit signal. And as you can see
Okay,
down here, cross below here,
signal
signal
line.
line. Yep.
Okay,
No, I didn't put the positive here. I mean, we can always do that too. You can go back and
Okay.
hit crossover bullish if you wanted to. All right, so now you have two ways to get out of this. So say, you got to move adverse move against you. The MACD crosses lower, but it's still a profitable position. What it's we're going to do is we're going to get out immediately on that for you. That
Okay.
way we can just get out. So we're gonna take that bid and just get out of that position here.
Okay.
That way it exits super fast for you. But then we're also going to put another parameter, right? Like, we know, right? It could, go sideways, or there could be something that you just hasn't the MACD hasn't crossed over, and there's an adverse event that happens, right?
Okay.
Say they don't like that event next week, right? And
Yes.
all of a sudden the stock takes a huge hit. We can set up, one closes the other type of position. That's
Okay.
how I like to look at it. You can just set a pure stop loss here, but let's just set up a one that's based on profit and one that's based on loss.
Okay.
So profit, I mean, risk reward in a name like this. I mean, I know I had 100 in there, but that was
I
more
want to
on
get
the
like
yeah,
300.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we really, when we're looking at momentum names, we need bare minimum 200. Really, you should be looking at 300 or more.
Okay.
So let's do 300. It's safe. Your delta is going to be 100. Obviously, by the time you could probably get to that 300%. So, um, and then for the loss, we're going to want to keep that, a little bit looser on a momentum name. I mean, my recommendation would be 50, but if you want to go further or less, that's
No,
that's
50 is
fine too.
fine. 50 is fine.
I think 50 is great on that. That's giving you a 6-to-1 risk reward ratio on those,
Okay.
right? So I mean that's definitely good. And then here, get the bid price. It'll be the bid and mid to exit you on these one closes the other.
Okay.
And then we could force the close, with market orders. Some people don't like letting the option run right into
Oh,
expiration, whether
right.
that's the last hour, the last week, the last day.
Right, right. The last week, I'd say the last week is almost
Okay,
yeah.
we can do that. So we can do 1 week before. So it will close that Friday before, that last week, gets you out
Okay.
safely. And then, the model itself will just start looking for a re-entry into that position.
Interesting. Okay.
If you don't want to pause it or move on, right? Because it's
Right.
set up, it'll continue to do that. So it'll get out and then it'll look for that re-entry again.
Okay.
So 1 week before day of expiry. So there you go. I mean, it's simple as that. That's all set up now.
Pull up a chart of BE. Do you have a chart of BE again?
Okay.
So right now it's been ripping. It's higher than a MACD signal. So literally I'll have to wait until the MACD. Where's the MACD on the screen? There it is.
There's the MACD.
Okay. So I'm gonna wait. If we get a pullback here, it's gonna cross, right? It's gonna
Yep.
cross. It looks like where we are now. So if we get a pullback, it probably crosses. So basically, this is gonna set me up for the next run higher, if there is one.
Exactly. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. You can see sometimes you get these little spikes, but I mean, most of the time, I mean, and that was more in the bearish environment, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah, you might get like a fake out or two, but you're going to be leveraged for the next big move. I mean, look at this last one. That was a big
Yeah.
move,
Yeah. Yeah.
from May to, what was it? Got the out signal there in June. So I mean, you would have captured a nice 30-day move right there.
Yeah.
And then another one. I mean, huge
That's
move,
a big
right?
one. That's the big
So,
one. Yeah. All
I
right. So
mean,
so we're praying that it comes back, is what you're telling me.
exactly. And
All
so
right. That's fair.
hopefully it comes back to trend, has a
There's a
little bit of a
reason
mean
these things go
reversion.
up, right? There's a reason
Yep.
they go up the way they go. It's completely the stock is so the stock is completely re-rating here, and the analysts are putting down different numbers into the model, and the numbers are explosive. It's almost like you
Yeah.
can't. How do you model something that it's literally exponentially higher now from where it was? It was nothing to all of a sudden every hyperscaler might be fighting over their fuel cells. So that
Yeah.
is that's kind of the story here. But all right, Matthew, I really appreciate this. This was awesome. Let's see how that runs, and people can take a look at it when they get a chance.
All right. Wonderful. We'll be looking
Thanks,
out for
Matthew.
the trigger. Have a
All
good
right,
one.
exactly. Goodbye.
Bye.